So it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce our next guest, Ryland. And I am so excited for us to have this conversation and for you to be able to receive it. Oh my goodness. So let's get right into it. I'm going to share a little bit about Ryland. He is the co founder of Kiss the Ground in 2013 and plays a leadership role in the organization as the chief mission officer. You got to look them up. You got to watch the documentary on Netflix. It is so powerful. And he's a producer of the film and the podcast Kiss the Ground as well. And as a 15-year entrepreneur, he is the co-owner and prior mission fulfillment officer of the nationally recognized plant-based restaurants Cafe Gratitude and Gracias Madre. I'm so excited about that. They're so delicious. Located in Southern California and co-creator of the documentary film May I Be Frank. He's a passionate speaker on the topic of sacred commerce and regenerative agriculture tools for building community, food is medicine, and the practice of love and gratitude. Ryland is also a dedicated husband and father and lives on a 17-acre regenerative organic farm in Fillmore, California, where he's learning to practice what he preaches. So beautiful, so powerful, and we are so excited to bring on Ryland. Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you. We are so excited to have you here. And yes, I have to say that when I was reading your bio and I noticed that you were co-owner of Cafe Gratitude, I kind of fangirled a little because I freaking love that cafe so much. And when my sister lived there briefly, she was raving because she's like we're all anyway, I was gonna say she's like a vegan. She's the one who got our whole family to go plant-based. Some of us for a period of time, some of us for more. Anyway, but she was like, this is the best place. And anyways, I also had her girlfriend who worked there for a period of time and it transformed her life. I've never heard of someone so passionate about working somewhere that literally it turned her. She's like, we are doing these mirror exercises and every day we talk about what we're grateful for. And she just loved her. Just I don't even want to leave. I love it. I'm like, this is awesome. So anyway,
Wait, wow. Who is this? I wonder if I know.
Karina, her name is Karina Medina.
Karina Medina.
Yeah, it was
and
a while
she
back.
worked at what location?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't remember. I just know it was a street off of an Abbot Kinney kind of area. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Venice.
Okay, that one.
Yeah. I actually, now that you're saying that, I think I remember Karina. That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. So she loved it. And then we all had a trip and we really enjoyed it. And we just thought the whole concept was so beautiful. And I remember actually sitting there and being like, wow, I wonder who created this because it's just so heartfelt in every detail. So anyways, I just wanted to speak to that because I think it's a great representation of who you are and what you bring to the world in your presence and the way that you create, which is so powerful to create something like that can be such a meaningful experience out of something that's seemingly simple, an everyday activity of going to a restaurant, and that's kind of what we might be speaking about today too, is just how do we bring this meaningfulness, this mindfulness, this sacredness, this connection into our everyday experiences. But anyways, enough of that, enough of me. Let's speak more about you. So we're just really excited to have you here. There's so much I'd like to connect on, but I would love to just hear, in your words, was there a moment in time or an experience, what kind of woke you up in a moment, if you can think of one, or just in general, what inspired you to do what it is that you're doing? For example, with soil or even with Cafe Gratitude, to create something so intentional and beautiful. Is there something in your life that inspires those actions?
Yeah, thank you so much for this opening, and it's really sweet to hear about Karina and the joy that she received in working in Cafe Gratitude. And that really was our intention and purpose, was to create a work environment, and we called it sacred commerce. And just to put some context, my father and stepmother were the founders back in 2004, and it's an organic plant-based restaurant here in California. And but beyond the organic plant-based food component and even raw food component in the early days, and the sort of whole idea of food as medicine, really it was about how do we bring people into their hearts and bring people into the present moment, and doing that through gratitude. And that when we're grateful, that we're so, myself included, we're so chasing something in the outer, chasing some future where there might be, success based on some physical attribute that we've obtained. And when we're grateful, it nows us. We are present to something that already exists that gives us a feeling of fulfillment. And so that simple practice of gratitude, what am I grateful for in this now moment? Just grateful to be able to remember the feeling of gratitude and the feeling of the fulfillment of what already exists, that I'm alive, that I feel good, that I'm healthy, that I have two beautiful boys, that I have a loving wife who cares for me and cooks for me and takes care of our home, and that I'm grateful that I have living parents. And so just there's a beautiful Sufi saying which says, abundance can be simply had by consciously receiving what has already been given. And so, when we can just receive what has already been given, when we can receive what already is, and just make the invisible visible, and give thanks for that, is such a powerful, powerful remembrance. And so that was what we wanted to do with Cafe Gratitude. Was we wanted to create a place where we could serve people healthy food. That was the carrot to get people in the door. But really the point was to bring people into their hearts and bring people into the present moment and shift their attention, their awareness to all that has already been given. And so, so I come from amazing parents who have been spiritual seekers and have been, looking at how to awaken more love in the world through their presence, through their being, and how to do that through business, through an enterprise. And Cafe Gratitude was a great experiment in how do we bring more love, more gratitude into the world through a restaurant, and having the transactions of a restaurant become transformations of this awareness. And so that's sort of the place that I was coming from. And I was able to work within and, run the businesses with my brother and my family for over 15 years. We've had restaurants in San Francisco and then in Southern California. And we still do have restaurants here in both Northern California and Southern California. But that actually, that experience and that working in the restaurants brought me to New Zealand about 11 years ago, where I sort of went there as a sort of, an entrepreneur who I felt like was really on top of what was happening within the environmental, problems, crises, and also the solutions. And that Cafe Gratitude was, plant-based, organic, sustainable, composting. And, I found myself in New Zealand, and I was sitting in the audience of another panel discussion called Can Human Beings Sustain Life on Planet Earth? And basically 5 out of the 6 experts said no, that we're heading into the Anthropocene. We're heading into a die-off extinction event. And that, the biodiversity collapse, the ocean phytoplankton collapsing, all these different areas around the world that, were just showing signals of, massive decline. And, the sixth expert who spoke, scientist who spoke, was a guy by the name of Graham Sate. And he basically communicated this connection between plants, trees, and soil, and, the excess of carbon that's in our upper atmosphere, up over 400 and, something parts per million of carbon that is, creating this greenhouse effect, or this heating effect, and, creating unpredictable weather patterns. And basically he described that soils is this amazing carbon storage. It's a sink. It's a place that, besides the oceans, can hold a lot of that excess carbon that's up in the atmosphere, and that we could take that carbon that's in the atmosphere and we could put it back into the ground, and we could use that carbon and turn it into a carbon glue, and we could heal our soils and create a really a more productive food system, a more abundant food system, simultaneously, while healing and reversing the effects of climate change or global warming. And to me, it was just like a ding ding. I mean, literally, in the realm of spiritual awakenings, it was one of these moments where I was seeing truth that I had never seen before, but it was so the truth. It's kind of like, we don't know what, how to, we can't even possibly, contemplate the magnificence of what is the creation, or the universe, or God, or the intelligence that governs this universe. And we have these moments that are so like never before, and yet they're so at home. They're everything we're remembering. They're so distinct, and yet they're so familiar. And that's what this moment was. It was literally a moment of, I was learning something that was completely new. I had no cognition of this, and yet it was so precisely right on. It was like, wow, we as human beings can work with nature to increase the photosynthesizing plant, working with the photosynthesizing plants on the earth to pull carbon down. Photosynthesis is this carbon pump, and that can balance the climate. And if we could manage our agriculture with this understanding of soil health and biomimicry, we could actually reduce, regenerate, balance the climate in a really meaningful way. And everyone who eats could participate in that transformation. And we could go from this sort of apathetic, big, scary thing that we can do nothing about, to everyone who eats is empowered to choose food that is healing soil, and healing our climate, and healing our bodies simultaneously. And that was sort of the kiss the ground moment of like, oh my God, kissing the ground for regeneration, that we can work with nature to heal and regenerate the earth, while healing and regenerating our bodies. And the kissing the ground moment is this moment of humility and recognition that we know nothing, and we're just so grateful to learn something in this moment, and being so in honor of this intelligence, this mother Gaia, that we are a part of, and that we could actually serve and actually contribute to her nature, and that regenerative agriculture is a way that we can do that. And again, I wasn't a farmer, I wasn't an academic, I wasn't a scientist. I was a enthusiastic restaurateur, running restaurants that were about promoting gratitude. And this awakening about soil just became the most clear way to love people and love humanity, and care for each other and care for the earth. Was, oh wow, it's not just sustainable. It's not just sustaining something that in a lot of cases has been, we've broken our ecosystems, we've degenerated our soils, we've polluted our oceans, we've polluted our rivers, we've degraded the biodiversity. And so, when we've broken something to just sustain something broken, you're sustaining brokenness. But when you can, distinguish a new North Star, or a direction, or a pathway that can get you to a place that actually feels like will make the difference, that makes the difference. Regeneration is that distinction of like, oh wow, we look around and we see so much dilapidation, and regeneration, no matter how degraded something is, it gives us this place to begin that healing and regeneration is possible. And then it gives us this, this map, this way forward, where we actually can see ourselves, and we can see a future that actually is bright, versus just one that is somewhat hopeless. And so that was this moment in New Zealand, that was one key moment. And then another key moment was, I at 19 years old, my mother and father took me to experience a ceremonial context of a plant medicine, where we took this plant medicine, ayahuasca. And at the time, I was, in a moment of sort of mental crisis about what way I should go. I was, I came into this world with a lot of learning disabilities, and didn't go to college because I didn't feel I had the capacity to succeed there. And then, my sort of first aspiration of I tried to become a pro snowboarder, didn't sort of work out. And so I was kind of in this crisis of where do I go? And I was thinking about going into tech and technology in San Francisco at the time. And I had this experience on this, medicine, ayahuasca, where she showed me in a very clear way that technology and giving myself to sort of the digital matrix was not where my life calling was. Where my life calling was to serve her, and to plug my life into the earth, and that that she was asking me for my devotion, and for my service, and for my commitment to her, and to protect her and heal. And in that moment, I found myself weeping in tears, with this, with gratitude for being asked, and being called for this calling, and being called for this service. And for many years after that moment, that was when I was 19 years old. I had no idea per se what that would look like. And then, 10 or 12 years later, this insight around soil and regenerative agriculture, and, what could I do? And it became like, okay, I live in Los Angeles. I'm in this intersection of food, health, and wellness, and media. I made a film before called May I Be Frank, that you said in my bio, which was, a powerful story of a man's healing through food as medicine, and through changing our mind and our thinking. And so I just saw the opportunity of, what if we could bring awareness and bring the same awakening that I had in that moment, at that conference in New Zealand, that healing was possible, regeneration was possible. The world is not lost. We're not heading, we don't have to go into, the sixth mass extinction, that we can heal and regenerate, and human can be a beneficial organism, a beneficial biology, a beneficial, a probiotic on this living planet. And that that insight and, my role of being able to bring awareness and, be a champion for others, people that are actually doing the work on the ground, that I could elevate their stories and give them a platform such that, others could be awakened in the way that I was. And that it was somehow there was a clear role for me in, having that message get out there. And, a psychic once told me, she was like, Ryland, your job in life is to point at things. And so, I pointed at organic plant-based food. I pointed at gratitude. I pointed at, love. And, now I've been pointing at soil and regeneration as something that is something that has value for us to wake up to and remember and see ourselves integrating with. And so that's, those are a few moments of genesis and awakening that led to my passion and commitment of over 11 years devoting my life to people really having this awakening to kiss the ground, to love Mother Earth, and to care for our soil.
Yeah, this is absolutely epic. I love hearing you share about this, and I think our audience will as well, because it's just clearly so from the heart. Just hearing you share about these things, I'm like feeling the presence. I feel the tingles of truth. Like, it's so powerful, and it is an amazing narrative. It is amazing vision. It is amazing, like, to vision and to look at a way forward that is bright and that is in harmony with all, and that is possible. That's very rooted and grounded and tangible in what you displayed. And I did have a moment like what you had hoped you had shared with the intention of the film. When I watched that film, I just wanted to honor that and share that, because I had many moments like that actually through the film. And one of them in particular was, I remember they were looking at everything and they said there's like 60 harvests of topsoil left or something like that. And I was like, wow, this is wild. And then it goes on this whole trajectory of the how we can transform that, which is so, so powerful. And so I'm curious for you, like, especially with the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation, like, our whole entire vision is a world that is filled with love, peace, and harmony, a world that is abundant for all, a world where this type of regeneration is possible. So when you envision that, I don't know, like, what comes to you, or could you expand on that? Or what do you feel in your heart when you envision this world, like you have shared, that we have the empowerment to create, that we are able to restore? And I am curious also if you have any insights or any guidance for everyone watching in terms of actions they may be able to take in the moment, because I know you said it's all bringing it to the now and the nowism, and I love that. I really feel that. So even in this very moment, what can we do in our day-to-day lives to make some changes that could have an impact on the collective?
Yeah, thank you for that. Uh, so yeah, so there's kiss the ground. Obviously, we see this transformation in the realm of that it's there's so many different parts and players in the ecosystem of life. And so in the context of regeneration, kiss the ground, our role is to catalyze this new awareness, and taking people into the next action step. And so if this is if the idea of supporting the regeneration of our planet is something that you are compelled by, and you are awakened by, and you're feeling inspired by, and you're feeling energized by, kiss the ground. We've designed our organization to really be a first step for people to start to explore what their role, how could they play a beneficial a part in this regeneration web of life. And so, we focus on sort of three core areas. So, we're building awareness. So, if you haven't seen the film, or you haven't, we have a ton of short films about regenerative agriculture, as well as the film that's on Netflix. So that's like the one thing you can start by doing is, having a continued awareness of this possibility, to see if this is something that's truly inspiring you and wanting you to take you down the path. Then secondly, we have, education courses. So we have on-demand educational courses that you can become either a soil advocate or a regenerative gardener. So, basically, if you want to use your voice and your communication and your energy to advocate and educate about this topic, we have an amazing course that really trains you in how to be a powerful advocate. So that's called the Soil Advocacy Training, and we've trained thousands of people all over the world to be these advocates. And they then, whether it's they go, offer a TED talk, or they paint a mural with this message, or they go and address, their local government systems, or they go create a farmer cooperative. It can, cascade into many different things. But become a soil advocate or a regenerative gardener. So those are our two educational courses that we offer at kisstheground.com. And then the third piece is, and this is, again, just through Kiss the Ground's program, and then I'll just make a few other recommendations. And that is, we're working deeply, and Love, Peace, and Harmony has contributed to this over the last year. When you guys, are supported Kiss the Ground, was really, we've done a massive amount of work around advocacy and education around the 2023 Farm Bill, and we've launched a petition to support a transition of resources in the Farm Bill, which is over $485 billion spent over 10 years of taxpayers' money, that basically incentivizes, subsidizes, and pays for nutritional supplementation program like food stamps or SNAP, which feeds 44 million mouths, 44 million people in this country. But another 25% of that budget goes to incentivizing what is the future of our farming practices. And right now, a lot of that money goes to subsidizing, the genetic modification of, the commodity cropping systems, CAFO, concentrated animal feedlot operations. So a lot of the degenerative agriculture that's being incentivized and supported through those taxpayer dollars, we have an opportunity to divert a percentage of those resources to really catalyze support for farmers to get on the path to becoming regenerative. And so the petition is really about driving the public support, and our goal is to get hundreds of thousands of signatures on this petition, which everybody listening could take 30 seconds and go sign that petition. It's the Petition for Regenerative Agriculture, and the campaign is called Regenerate America, Soil is Our Common Ground, because this is a bipartisan, this is every human being who eats every day is getting food that's coming from soil. And as you said, those 60 years left, when there's no more soil, there's no more food, and there's no more life. So this is a hugely important piece of our work over the last year and a half, 2 years, is this building a coalition and a campaign and doing advocacy work around shifting resources in the 2023 Farm Bill. So we can put that link here so people can jump in and support that. And then just like at a general, no matter where you are.
I have a question about that briefly, just because we have a global audience. So could anyone around the world sign that, or do they need to be somebody from the United States? And then also, forgive me for not looking this up prior, but is there a timeline for this as well?
Yeah. So so it's going to be midsummer is when the results of the farm bill. So we have some time. So yeah, we have some time, but yes, people do have to support it. You do have to be in the U.S. A
Okay,
U.S.
so we have a wide group of people who are based in the United States or have a home in the United States. So we want to invite you to participate.
And then I think just at a general, sort of the way that we can support regeneration. I was talking about this morning. It's like when we commit to something, we start to see that thing everywhere. Like we commit to buying a red Toyota Corolla, we start to see Toyota Corollas everywhere we go. So when we commit to, I want to feed myself foods that are not only just regenerating my health, but also regenerating the earth, the soil, the land that those farming systems that are producing that food are developed to actually and intentionally regenerating that land. And that's becoming a newer distinction. We've all heard of organic, mostly heard of organic food, but there's a whole new distinction and sort of desire for food to be creating regeneration on the landscapes that produce that food. And so I was actually just at the Expo West, the Healthy Foods Expo in California, and I think there was 70 brands that are now launching regenerative products into the market. And so there's a couple ways that people can kind of tune into that and start following that trend and start, purchasing food in a way where it's not just consumerism, it's contributionism. So like you're contributing to the earth while you're contributing to the body or our bodies when we're consuming things and ingesting them. So so one is like wherever you are, you can find out where, many people have farmers markets, and find out who the farmer in your farmers market is that's practicing regenerative agriculture or are doing practices to rebuild and regenerate their soil. Because there's lots of different words to describe, regenerative agriculture. Some people could call it, sustainable agriculture, organic agriculture, agroecology, agroforestry. There's many different terms around the world that could be, but, people that are doing an agriculture that is really about rebuilding soil, because that is, if we're growing food and destroying soil, we're clearly going in the wrong direction. So how do we support, elevate, and have the people who are growing our food in that regenerative way be our heroes and be the people that we are supporting with our awareness, with our validation, with our social media, storytelling, and with our dollars, and with, what we put in our mouths. And so, really designing our plate of food that we eat every week to have, one or two ingredients that we've intentionally sourced that are participating in the regeneration of soil and of life and of biodiversity and of that ecosystem and that place that we live. So there's a couple ways to do that. There's the go to your farmer's market to find out and ask questions. What are farmers doing to rebuild or regenerate their soil? Then there's a regenerative farming map that has regenerative farms all over the world, where people can buy direct from a farmer that's registered as a regenerative farm on this regenerative farming map. And then there is looking up, there's two different certifications right now where people can find regenerative certified. So it's regenerative organic certification. There is a biodynamic certification, which also identifies regenerative foods. There is the Real Organic Project, which is another certification. And then there's the Land to Market certification, which is dealing mostly with dairy and meat and leather, or animal products. And so those are some of the ways that you can, sort of make one commitment to finding a pathway to start purchasing foods that are helping regenerate and heal the planet.
This is so inspiring. I'm already like wanting to get on Google and look up these maps and just find, local farmers that are practicing this and connecting with them. It's amazing. And especially now, in some countries, like it can be very convenient for people to make these shifts. For some, maybe not as much, but it really can be. And there's ways to get creative. So I just want to encourage everyone, we can make sure that we include the links to these references, and to find out in your local country, in your local city, ways that you can get involved and stay connected. So we are just about to wrap up our time together. We would love to hear from you, Ryland. Is there any other message of inspiration, any other message you'd like to leave people with? And we have been asking our guests today, if you had like one message to just share with the world right now, what would it be?
Yeah, I have one. I was nervous I wasn't gonna have one. I'm drawing a blank. I have no idea what to say. No. Yeah, my message is, what gives me hope is that, with absolute certainty, I know that each being, each human life, each individual listening, and every individual that's not listening, at the center, at the core, at their being, they are the presence of love, and that we are the presence of love. And wherever we go, we get to say who we be, and it's free to be love. And we get to bring and be the presence of love. And where you are, love is. And you get to create the life, the environment, the interactions that will come from the presence of love in a crisis, in a moment of kissing our children, in the moment, frustration. Wherever we are, we can choose to be the presence of love. And that is actually the nature of our being. And when we remember that we are the source of love that we're looking for, the world changes. And, there is the possibility for a world of love, peace, and harmony when we remember that we are the source of love. And if we are being that presence of love, the world changes. And so we have an opportunity to remember that and be that. And I'm just so grateful for today's conversation and all the other amazing contributors, and to Master Shaw for putting this up, and for Love, Peace, and Harmony for their support of Kiss the Ground. And so thank you. Ask me why I'm optimistic is because the design of nature is regeneration, and the design of human beings is that we are the presence of love.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ryland. This is so powerful. And we are so honored and blessed to have you with us today. It's been enlightening, powerful. I am so excited to just see the comments, to hear everyone's feedback. And we're so grateful that you exist. So thank you for being who you are on this planet and for doing what you do. We really appreciate you. And thank you.
Thank you.